All right, so here's my little rant about understanding James White and James White's perspective on philosophy and theology, and understanding why someone like me just can't get along with someone like him. It's not because of his faith or anything like that. It's because he has no respect for someone like me. Let's talk about James White. So, a little while back, he posted up a video talking about orthodoxy and justification and free will. And it finally, in that video, he explained to me why I don't like him and why I don't like his reasoning and why I feel that he is illogical in his reasoning. Basically, that I personally have felt that he has complete disrespect for basic logic, although his debating skills are, fairly impressive, and his knowledge base is fairly impressive, and his opinions, though I disagree with them, seem to be based on decent arguments that, if they are true, if the premises are true, then the conclusion would most definitely be true. Yet, I disagree that the premises are true. I think those premises are not true. That's my problem with his argument, right? Or at least that's what I thought my problem with his argument was. Turns out that's not what my problem with his argument and his debating. And he actually said what it was. So I'm now going to give it to you. So in James White, a video on Orthodoxy and Justification from November 16th, 2017, 47 minutes in, up to the 49-minute mark. Okay, so this is when he said that finally illuminated to me the reason why I don't like him when it comes to his stances. After showing a self-deluded, self-convinced understanding of justification and showing a complete lack of respect for the Eastern Orthodox faith, basically saying that he does not consider Orthodox Catholics nor Roman Catholics true Christians. And he also said, nor does he consider liberal Muslims to be truly Islamic. Oh yeah, he's just knocking them right out the park right there, right? He then stated very clearly that he refuses to debate any theological ideas that exist outside of the biblical text, or any ideas that exist outside of revelation, or any thought or fact based on reason, historical fact, or logic. He then states that he is not interested in those kind of things, and that he has no interest in categories. He has no interest in the concept of categories. He then adds that he is, and I quote, not interested in debating with people who are basically philosophically orientated. And that wasn't a jumble. I made sure to give the exact quote. He picks this argument up again at 51 minutes in. And then from there, he goes off into his rant. But yeah, okay. So I have, for the life of me, been trying to figure out what my problem is with James White. I'll admit I don't know a lot of Calvinists in my personal life, but Calvinism doesn't seem that crazy. I mean, I disagree with the free will thing, clearly. I disagree with predestination, okay. But outside of that, I really shouldn't have a problem with James White, right? But for some reason, whenever I see him argue or debate or even tear something down on dividing line, something just gets at me, just like, and I just couldn't figure it out. And there was this guy on here for a while, and he took down his videos called How to Be Christian. And I thought he had a pretty good in on what the problem was, which is that James White doesn't understand logic, okay, basic word logic. So I was like, okay, I don't know that that's true. I think it's a little simplistic, but I can see how that's true. So I was like, okay, maybe that's my problem with James White. But no, that's not my problem with James White. My problem is he doesn't respect philosophy. He just doesn't believe in it. He doesn't believe that any revelation that comes from reasoning or that comes from writers post-Bible, post-biblical writers, he doesn't consider their writing relevant. Yet he himself subscribes to a view that is post-biblical, i.e. Calvinism. He's taking a post-biblical doctrine and he's saying that he doesn't believe in post-biblical doctrines. And it just kept on frustrating me, and I just couldn't put a pin on it, you know what I mean? And then suddenly he says it himself, and I'm like, there it is. There's my problem with James White. I don't get it, okay? You're going to debate the Catholic Church. That seems to be what he loves to do. He loves to go after the Catholic Church. And you're going to debate Muslims, and you're going to kind of give them a pass. But with the Catholic Church, you're going to attack wholeheartedly. And I was like, okay, but you're going after dogma, but the dogma is based on the Bible, and you believe in the Bible, so why are you going after the dogma? And for a while there, it kind of felt like he was somehow stuck debating the church in the 1500s, just the Lutheran point of view of the church, and not debating the church as it stands today. But that's because he doesn't view the church as it stands today as the church. So if it's not in the Bible, it isn't real to him. I don't understand how these kind of people think. I don't get it, man. There has been a ton of history since the Bible was written, okay? The authors of the Bible have a limited understanding of history and science. They just do. So they're doing the best they have with the revelations that they got, okay? But we can look through history to see how those interpretations change, and we can look back in the Bible to see how the Bible itself reinterprets itself all the time. Like it just keeps reinterpreting itself through Genesis. Like every time a new major character shows up, it reinterprets itself. And then you get to Exodus and it kind of stays together, and Numbers kind of stays together, and then after you get out of, Leviticus and Deuteronomy, suddenly it reinterprets itself again when you get to the exile and then post-exile text. And he just can't seem to acknowledge this. And I'm just like, well, why can't he acknowledge basic reasoning and logic? And it's because he doesn't believe basic reasoning and logic exists. He doesn't think it's real. I don't understand how you would argue with someone like that. There's this guy named Bart Ehrman who goes, and this is his quote, "I absolutely hated debating James White because he's the kind of fundamentalist that I can't respect." And I'm like, but I listened to that debate and I thought Bart Ehrman did a great job. I thought James White did a good job, but I was like, I felt there was some disrespect there, but I didn't hear it. I didn't hear the disrespect. I just kind of felt it. You know what I mean? And now having James White confess what he feels about logic and philosophy, I get it. I get where the disrespect was. The disrespect was for the academic scholarship that went behind Bart Ehrman's knowledge. James White simply just doesn't respect. It's not that he doesn't respect Bart Ehrman. He doesn't respect his scholarly knowledge. He just doesn't respect the reasoning. So it was like wow, like, okay, that's my problem with this guy. So am I going to stop watching his stuff? I don't know. I mean, sometimes he's the only guy who's respectfully talking about Islam who's Christian. So I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, you know what I mean? Like, but I finally understand what my problem is with him. So I almost feel like anytime he comes up to a purely philosophical issue, I'm just going to skip it. I'm just going to be like, all right, I know he's going to talk nonsense, so I'll just skip ahead until he gets back to, talking about manuscripts and textual variances and stuff like that. Just skip any time he starts talking about philosophy, because he doesn't respect philosophy. So he's not going to use sound philosophical reasoning to discuss philosophy. He's just going to, crap on it. So it finally made sense. Anyway, peace, like, subscribe. Hopefully this one's good enough to get posted.